We got a heck of a season debut from Victor Wembanyama last night, sports fans, and I'm not even sure citing the stat does his performance enough justice, as he so thoroughly dominated the Mavericks in Dallas that not only did some of these plays straight take my breath away, but it got me thinking that we're witnessing a player who's going to go down as the greatest of all time. Let's start off with those breathtaking plays, shall we? These are the kind of things that leave you in awe and wondering how anybody is going to be able to stop the French freak. In transition, you normally train your bigs to rim run, a straight sprint down the middle of the floor with hopes the ball goes to the wing first and you get a good angle at a post feed. But not Wemby. Stephon Castle can just ride in his wake, and let me assure you, this is simply not an angle to throw an alley-oop to anyone on this planet except Wemby. The only way to complete this play would be to turn your back to the basket, catch it in the air, hover, find the rim with your eyes, and then shove it through over your shoulder. And he makes this look like a routine play. To give you an idea of how difficult it is to guard Wemby, he grabs the rebound and outlets it. Then he's the lead guard bringing the ball up. After initiating the offense early, he dives into the low post, then floats out for a perimeter catch on the wing, and then realizes he's got a big size mismatch, which he essentially always has anyway, before shot faking on a double team, and then what? This should have just been a massive dunk on the right side, but instead he absorbs the contact from AD and then reverses it? Mon Dieu, we haven't seen anything like this ever. We'll get into his defense in a minute, but I want you to understand the outsized impact he has on every facet of this game all over the floor. He scares Washington into stopping short on the drive, is turned the wrong way but recovers to make Lively look like a middle schooler, and then races the ball up the court as the lead guard again before slowing down into an ISO. Tween, in and out cross, tween, behind the back, step back, landing space foul, and hits the three. I'm rarely speechless, sports fans, but this is one of those times. They try to go to a zone to contain him, but he just uses a pass fake to split the guards, and it is over right here. No one can stop a guy this tall and mobile when he's got both feet in the lane with an advantage like that. But it's his feel for the game that has me in awe of what he is and what he will become. They run a ball screen with their point guard for him, and his three-point shot is good enough that Lively has to bite on the fake. So he breaks into a give and go. And again, this is where it's already over, as no one is big enough to stop him once he's going to the rim off a clean catch. And this was the moment. You may see an isolation with all manner of dribble move that proves ineffective against one of the best defenders in the league, and that all is true, but he still takes him into the superstar area, makes AD go for the fake, absorbs the contact, and just swishes this in AD's face. This was the moment that convinced me he's going to be the greatest force we've ever seen in the NBA. To be able to hit this tough a shot against this caliber defender at this early in his career tells me all I need to know. And it wasn't a fluke play either. He French fried AD a number of times in this game. Nothing fancy, just taking into the paint and a soft little jump hook. Davis had no chance. The pick and pop is going to scare defenses for the next 15 years. Davis has to honor the shot fake, but that means he can get into the lane, and that's going to be curtains for any defender. I mean, who does this? A lefty drive into a tween, spin, and then one-footed fadeaway bank shot from 10 feet with touch. It's outrageous. At this point, the game was long over, but he demoralizes a first-team all-defender by going coast to coast on him, lefty in and out, and then just politely crams it in on his head. This is not like Giannis or LeBron bearing down on the defense. He's combining speed, skill, shiftiness, and he's even getting stronger too, which is exactly what you need to combine in order to play Prize Picks. They've got a way to stack them, and here's what I chose to be part of it for tonight's games. Plus, I've got a good feeling about the Chargers against Minnesota, so join me and my son and cheer them on this Sunday. Follow me on the app so you can just copy my lineups, something you'll benefit from during basketball season. Best of all, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. The closest thing we got to a fair fight was when he was guarded by Derek Lively, who's a very good defender and at least in the vicinity of his height. Let's examine the Spurs offense. They run horns with a double high post, and after back screening for the guard out top, they run elbow get action. Wemby rejects the screen, terrific defense to cut him off, but this is the superstar area, the pull-ups in the mid-range that only the best of the best get to take. And he's already consistently making these with a hand up in his face as a perfect swish. Here's another pick and pop to get him some space on the catch. Into zoom action as Vassell comes off the pin down into handoff out top. Instant advantage on Klay Thompson, but great recovery to stall the attack. However, Wemby's roll to the basket takes him right to deep position on that left block. It wasn't all perfect last night as he gets awfully close to gathering this ball too early and making it a travel, and the heavily contested fadeaway wasn't the best choice here. I think he should have planted that right foot into a shot fake, then stepped through back to his left for a runner. Here's that same pick and pop into reversal. Instead of zoom action, the two guards exchange and get into a high post split. It wasn't executed well enough, leaving Wemby to have to isolate with little time on the shot clock. Nothing fancy, just gets as close as he can on the lefty drive before extending his left step towards the baseline for a little more space and then floating this in softly off the glass. We've never seen a player this tall be this graceful and exhibit such soft touch like this. Maybe Wilt Chamberlain and Hakeem Olajuwon in their primes. And that's notable because Hakeem has been working with Wemby, but this is on a different level. More superstar treatment by both the Spurs and the refs. His team just going to him on his mismatch down low tells us he's the man, and the refs seem to ignore the gather here before the left foot hits the ground. That means he uses 3 steps to get this off, and while it was impressive that he hit it, it should have been waved off as a traveling violation. More evidence of his guard skills is that he understands one of my secrets to shooting off the dribble from distance, floating the ball and then dipping it like it's a catch and shoot. He just needs to synchronize the dip with his foot plant a little bit better to get more of them to fall. The Spurs can also create on their own and let him clean up as a trailing roll man, and it's nice when a guy with his foot on the dotted line can just rise up off 2 feet and dunk it. And when their offense is functioning properly, they're generating advantages off of great ball movement around the floor. His roll here tilts the defense, giving them a 2-on-1 advantage on the left side, leading to a middle drive, and this will always be the result if Wemby is down there. The high post is where I'd like to see him operate even more out of, and it's patently unfair when his defender plays perfect defense on him to force the dreaded mid-range shot, and he still drops it in perfectly. We didn't get a lot of examples of how good he is as a passer, but in transition, he did treat us to a nice no-look to the corner that froze Cooper Flagg and directly created this wide-open 3. And we're getting a sense of how open he's going to get his teammates when all eyes focus on him when he drives, or the defense will just naturally gravitate towards him from 1 pass away. And once they fix the spacing on the cuts, he'll get a lot more assists since he's a willing passer and sees the floor so well from such a high vantage point. The defense is almost as impactful as the offense, to be honest. He roams the paint and knows how to time his jump to deflect these shots just before they're on their way down so it's not a goaltend. Drivers simply must know where Wemby is at all times and shoot their shot only if they dare, as there are very few angles or arcs you can shoot and get it by him, as Cooper Flagg found out. This time, Flagg doesn't even attempt the shot as Wemby's rotation stops him cold in his tracks. There's no way to measure this impact, but trust me, it's profound. But the one area teams might have quote-unquote success is in the mid-range against him, but we know from a lot of data that these shots are low percentage and won't go in enough to justify shooting them a lot. I caught a glimpse of his zone defense where they can allow Kornet to be up to play between the ball and the basket and ride the 2.9 seconds allowable in the lane, which then lets Wemby roam the backside and contest perimeter shots with his incredible wingspan. I don't think anyone will have much success against this considering how high you have to shoot it to clear his contest. Plus, he's already great at utilizing verticality to legally absorb contact while contesting in the air, and I don't think there's a player out there that can score against a wall like this. So there you have it, sports fans. Call him whenever you like, just don't call him late for dinner, lunch, or breakfast, since he'll be eating yours in your face, dismantling every record we have on his way to the greatest career we'll have ever seen.